Hi.
Hello. Welcome to amiRelocating Show Sports Edition. Yay!
Boxing gloves.
Boxing gloves. So I'm back in Glasgow today. I'm actually with the Glasgow team. We've got everybody here. Hi guys. And since this is my welcome home party, we thought that we would just go for all the beers of all the individual sports sponsors that we could think of. So we've literally cleared out the bar. But yeah, let me tell you a bit about where we are. We're in the committee rooms, which is our local pub to the office. So this is the place that you're always going to find us on a Friday afternoon, on a Monday afternoon, on a Wednesday afternoon. We're always here. Yeah.
Thursday morning.
Thursday morning, sometimes. Shh, I said that was a meeting. So yeah, it's a really good pub, but also what they have is a lot of sports paraphernalia, and they have these huge screens which show all the sporting games that are on. So just now with the Olympics being on and everything, there's been so much happening here that we just thought this would be a good place to do it. So the reason for doing a sports edition, we've been focusing mostly on locations for the past couple of weeks, and it's great to do different locations and to tell you about where to go and how to set up your business there, but also we realised there's so many themes to come out of that actually it would be good to focus on a particular theme this week, and that is travel and travel tourism, and a couple of other themes around sports for that. So we've got some, as always, facts and figures for you, some really interesting stuff. We've also got some tips on how you can build and promote and grow your business within this area, and as always it is about relocating. So we're hopefully giving you some tips as to how to expand your business internationally. Yeah. So we talked through who the sponsors were. We were having a bit of a joke before we started, but we were going to do the Celtic and Rangers sponsors, but we couldn't remember who Rangers sponsors were, so is that what happened, Claire?
32 Red.
they don't have a beer. So we've got Magners, which sponsor, I think they're still Celtic sponsor. I think they're still, aren't they? We're still about to say, I think they're still Celtic sponsor. I've not watched the game well. We've got Magners. We've got Heineken, which I don't know if they sponsor a team, but we believe that they sponsor some of the football championships. That's right, isn't it?
It's either Heineken or Amstel.
Heineken or Amstel. I think Amstel support a team. And we've got Bud. Budweiser are the proud sponsors of the Super Bowl. And we have
Tenants.
Good old Tenants, which sponsored every Scottish football team up till about 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Exactly.
They didn't have McCoon's Lager.
Yeah, so we're good to go. Laurie also suggested that we get Bell's whiskey, because apparently they sponsor people, but I did try to tell her that, you know, there's a line for a Friday afternoon. We do need to go back to work. We'd all just be doing shots of whiskey. So, to start you off, travel industry in general. Travel industry is one of the most resilient industries in the world. Nothing can really come in the way of people wanting to travel, you know?
Not really.
You get your two areas of travel. You get people who travel for business, and you get people who travel for pleasure. But within those arenas, there's so many subsections. And for corporate travel, that's particularly what we're interested in. Whether you're going for like a business meeting or you're away for a conference, the weather conditions in a country or the local happenings in that country probably won't affect you going there. You're still going to go because your business is there. So it's something that kind of ticks on regardless of what's happening.
Yeah, we've seen that over the last few years when the economic downturn happened. The travel industry was one of the ones that really wasn't as bad hit as the rest of them. Mm-hmm. And also we've seen massive kind of weather storms and issues economically happening over the last couple of years as well. I mean, Iceland, the volcano in Iceland as well. I mean, that shut it down for a total of about 12 hours, and that's about it. Yeah. It's a really, really resilient industry, and it is for, as you say, people want to travel. Mm-hmm. It's a want that they have inside, and also they need to travel for business or to see family. Mm-hmm. You know, it's something that people have regularly in their daily lives.
Because even, you know, one thing we were talking about earlier, it's like the reasons for travelling. You know, so you've obviously got your it's so easy to define it very, very simply as you've got holidays or you've got business trips. But there's so much more than that. You know, you've got times where you go to spend Christmas with your family. Now, some people would not consider that to be pleasure. Maybe that's more business. So even things like that, that's all travel and it's all tourism. But one area that sort of bridges the gap between the two is sports tourism.
Yeah.
Sports tourism is such a huge market and such a huge industry, but it's also got loads of layers in it. So, for example, some people travel to see sporting events. Some people travel to partake in sporting events.
Yeah. I mean, we've got a fantastic example of that happening right now in the Olympics. There's so many planes and travels going over to Brazil for people, just spectators looking to be part of the Olympics and to watch the events. there's also so many people flying using the airlines and different industries, different industry sectors of the travel to get there. You know, we've got the sponsors going over, we've got the actual athletes themselves going over, we've got all of the kind of the backdrop behind what it takes to go on the show, all travelling over, and that's all through travel tourism.
Yeah. Yeah. So when you think about it for the tourism, you've got the sports tourism for attending a sportive event, but you've also got the kind of active sports tourism where you're partaking in the event. So just to give you an idea of some stats around this industry, before we really delve deeper into what the sports tourism can consist of, Visit Britain states that 3% of all holiday visits to the UK was for active sport tourism. That means 3% of all people travelling to the UK were coming here to partake in a sporting activity. 3% might not seem huge, but it's a £1 billion industry.
Yes, yeah.
I keep going to say dollars because I've been in New York. I'm like, $1 billion. It's a £1 billion industry. That's absolutely huge. So that's £1 billion a year into the UK economy. Now, you come up with some interesting facts about what's the number one draw. We would have thought it would be football.
I without a shadow of a doubt, would have thought the number one draw for people coming over to the UK to get involved in sports would have been football. But actually, it turns out it's hiking.
It's hiking? Yeah.
There's,
Even a sport. Hiking is not in the Olympic
people,
Games, sorry.
honestly, the levels of tourism, sport tourism, sorry Laura, for people coming over to hike in Scotland is massive. It's massive. It actually makes up 20% of all of the sport tourism in Scotland.
Well, it's a beautiful country we have to walk about in.
Yeah.
We do, yeah. I mean, we consider just walking up that hill at Strathclyde hiking, you know, so maybe this is the student population we're tapping into. But yeah, when you think about it, people come to our country just to hike. I mean, we don't walk up hills at the weekends and stuff, but we would travel to go to other countries to play sports that we enjoy. Because sometimes sports are based around an area, but that actually highlights a deeper issue where, what do you consider a sport?
Yeah.
You know, like my dad thinks golfing's a sport, I strongly disagree.
And other sports that people travel to take part in are very sort of location based as well, such as skiing. I mean, you can't just go into Glasgow City Centre and go skiing.
Yeah, exactly.
You could go X-skate, but
yeah,
it's not quite the same.
So when you have that, when you have an area that's known for something, so for example, you know that when you're going to come to Troon, you've probably got to be a golf fan at certain times of the year. You know when you go skiing that you're going to places like Aspen and Colorado and the Swiss Alps and things like that.
Yeah.
So Scotland's really a small fish when you look at the entire international sports tourism market. In the USA alone, sports tourism contributes for $1 trillion a year. It's $1 trillion. So that's big business. So that's at the stage where I start getting interested. I'm not interested in going hiking for 2 weeks.
We should also say that although hiking is 20%, football is very, very responsible for bringing people over at what's described as the less desirable times of the year. So when our tourism would take a dip, that's when football's really responsible for bringing people in, and that's why they always put the big games on over Christmas periods, you know, between January and March.
Really?
That's when the football tourism starts to bring a level of tourism that we wouldn't see otherwise.
Brian thinks you've made a mistake. Brian thinks you meant Heineken, not hiking.
Heineken's bringing tourism in.
Yeah, that's
Only
right.
for Brian.
And Laura is so right what she said. Her face when we said hiking, like everybody's just, you know, calmly on their phones, checking out the comments, and Laura's just like, what? Yeah, so yeah, we agree.
But no, you're right, it's big business. It's
Yep.
definitely big business.
And also people in Glasgow, I mean, I used to travel quite a lot for the football. I don't think we know, all of us have got friends who follow football and travel abroad. Do you know what I mean? Like, nobody doesn't know somebody who travels abroad for football in Glasgow. It's like a passion of ours.
Pretty sure Brian's done it.
Pretty sure Brian's done it, yeah. He's been away. You've been away as well.
The football, I went to
Yeah.
Manchester.
I've been away. So even things like that, even going to Manchester. And the thing is, it's not just about the plane ride, okay? So yes, the airline makes money, but there's so many different kind of facets to that in the sense of even organising your trip or planning your trip. You know, if it's the fastest growing sector in travel, people are really starting to sit up and take notice. We've got now people like Thomas Cook who are having specialist areas to deal with it, but also, I mean, you've got first-hand experience, and we've got a company who we're good friends with as a business who specialises in this. Do you want to talk about what they do?
Kieran, yeah, we've both Angela and I have met a mutual friend, Kieran Coyle, who runs a company called Premiership Experience, We invited Kieran to come down and take part in today's show, but unfortunately he couldn't come.
Don't really know what you had on that was better,
I know,
Kieran, but
priorities,
looking forward to
Kieran,
hearing it. he will be involved in a later show,
He'll
yeah,
be
we'll talk
involved in
about
a
more
future
travel.
show,
Yeah.
definitely. But his business model is getting tickets to the biggest football matches in the world, and then sending. How do I explain it?
Sending people?
And it's not really sending people, is it? It's taking people on a trip. Facilitating people's trips towards.
How much tennis have you
I know.
had? Can somebody take us away?
Tongue-tied?
I work better the more my
Yes,
you're the opposite.
he facilitates these trips and gives them, organises them places to stay, etc.
And really in depth. And that's the thing. So if you're in that kind of business, if you're in a service business, a concierge style business, an organising business, that kind of thing. So what you can do is you can make these trips easier to navigate. You can provide more information when people arrive. So part of our job as relocation assistants to companies is we come up with the hidden gems and the sort of local life hacks, if you like, of living in a new place. So maybe that's your business, maybe you're in the service side of it. Plus, you don't need any qualifications usually to set up in these types of businesses. It's just experience. So see if you've spent your 20s travelling around the world and now you're actually dreading getting a day job. Well, your day job could be helping people travel around the world. And I can actually see a couple of my guys going, that could be me. No, that's a terrible idea. What you want to do is work for a really good relocation company. Of course.
If you are looking to set up that kind of business, it is a fantastic time to do it, because we are seeing a real big surge of popularity in sports that we've not seen over the last kind of 10 years, I would say. In the UK, there's a massive surge in popularity in American football at the moment, and around the world, we've got a massive surge in popularity in UFC and other MMA companies, and that's a sport which 20 years ago didn't exist.
God, yeah.
And now it's one of the most watched sports in the world, and people facilitating these trips to Los Angeles to see the main UFC fights.
And at a really high end of the market as well, you know. So you've got your people who go away for the football, and maybe, I don't know if this is just my experience, but you're counting your euros before you go on the plane, But you get people who go to Las Vegas to watch the boxing constantly. And I don't know if you saw the picture that went viral on Twitter the last time when it was Floyd Mayweather's fight. And it was the Las Vegas airport and all the private jets that had landed at the airport. There was like hundreds of these private jets because big business, big celebrities, all these people are wanting to come to these places for the boxing shows. Sorry, Laura's distracting me because she's just put up a comment saying that Blair has a really good Conor McGregor impersonation, which I don't think I've seen yet. Blair, would you like to share? And Carly has just joined right at the right point. Hi Carly, you're just about to see Blair's Conor McGregor impression.
It's not so much a Conor McGregor impression.
Oh, it's Lauren. Hi Lauren, how you doing?
There's a fantastic video online of when the footballer Ronaldo meets Conor McGregor, and it's really embarrassing because it's the one time you will ever see Conor McGregor properly fanboy out. He is really, really cringeworthy and really, really embarrassing. And when I was telling the girls about that video and why they had to watch it, I did an impression of Conor McGregor fanboying out, and apparently it was absolutely spot on.
And now you've built it up so much.
I know.
So can we see it?
Catch him doing it, and then we'll film it and we can post it later.
Yeah,
we'll do a video of that short clip, then me doing it, so that it makes more sense for people.
That sounds good.
Email names.
Because I have to admit, I didn't know who the guy was.
Did you not?
So I had to watch the
Don't you know what Conor McGregor is?
And I wasn't stitches.
Sorry for distracting Angela.
I know, it's so funny because I'm like trying to think of the words I'm saying, and then I can see the comments coming up the side, so I started seeing it and I saw you, I was like, what is going on? Yeah. I'm just too nosy, I get too easily distracted.
Anyway, back to work.
Back to work. So yeah, because this is work. But then Alison just shown us obviously the limits of sports tourism as well. She doesn't even know who Conor McGregor is. She's not going to Las Vegas for any big UFC fights. But each to their own. There's always a niche. You're just not in the 3%, Alison.
I know if Ronaldo was there. I know who he is.
There we go. We all know who he is. So Pamela. Hi, Pamela. Nice to see you. Pamela has just put up a really interesting comment, and she got flights, hotel, and the game for Barca versus Valencia tickets through one company. And actually, it's so easy then when you're doing it. You're only dealing with one person, and that's really what's at the heart of it. Our entire business model. It's making travel easier for particularly business. But quite an interesting fact, which I don't know if many people know about the company, is we were founded out of sports tourism. So I initially had a lettings agency back in 2013, and the Commonwealth Games came to Glasgow in 2014, and I had no idea of the extent of the number of people and the diverse backgrounds of people who were going to be involved in the Games. And we started advertising properties which we thought would have been taken up by spectators. And actually it was companies who were coming here to work, and they weren't, one was family of one of the athletes, but they weren't athletes, they weren't, your spectators. It was actually back-end companies that you wouldn't even think of. Yeah. And then when you scratch away at the surface, you realise there's millions and millions and millions of pounds worth of work in the back end of these organised events. For example, look at Rio. They've been working on Rio for 6 to 8 years?
Yeah.
So think of all the construction companies. Now, absolutely no offence to South America and the market, I don't know it very well, but usually when you have events in emerging markets, that talent comes from more mature markets.
Yeah.
So they would have maybe hired construction companies from America or from the UK, or from Australia or whatever. But that gives you great opportunities. So if you've got a business and you're sitting in your business in Scotland and you print tickets or you design flyers or you are in catering and you have such a passion for sports that you can't even go to sleep at night without dreaming about sports and googling the results of your favourite team, you can take that business and turn it into a sports tourism business, because as long as you're flexible enough to go where the business is and to go where these big events are, there's literally no limit to the amount of companies that are required at these events.
Yeah, and it's important to know as well that even if you are a company that can travel that easily, if there is a big sporting event coming to your area, it's very, very easy to get involved. Like if you are catering or if you're involved in a taxi company, etc., or a bus hire. These athletes have to get around somehow.
Yeah.
There's so many possibilities, and you just have to look at your own business and see, well, how could we get involved, and do your best to get that.
And we had a bit of a discussion about this earlier, and we're not quite sure, but I have a feeling that within the sports industry as well, it's very much a who you know. So if you get into that area, so for example, if a big sports event comes to your city and you're shown over and above everybody else that you are the best at what you do, I think the opportunities will just open up for you in other markets. I mean, we've definitely found that from what we do. I mean, we're now in lots of international markets across the world, and it's fantastic, but that would have never happened if we didn't get the confidence from those first few clients coming to us from abroad and saying the service you give is great. Because if you've got a company who just works down the road from you saying your service is great, then you know you're good in that market. But having these international companies come over and work with you and saying you're great, then you know you maybe translate well elsewhere. Yeah. You can travel. And also when you get into the really elite side, so if you're organising concierge style tickets for events, you're going to be right in there with the people. You're probably only about 2 or 3 contacts away, especially if you have a passion for that sport.
Yeah.
If you join a golf club and you're playing at Royal Troon every week and you're wanting to organise hospitality for the Troon Open, I'm pretty sure that you have a contact there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you get into this area, and what's kind of maybe some of the pitfalls of doing it? It's huge competition, right?
Yeah.
Nobody looks at a $1 trillion, is it dollars or $1 trillion pounds?
$1 trillion
$1 trillion dollars in America. Nobody looks at a $1 trillion industry and thinks, okay, yeah, maybe I'll do it at the weekends, right? You've got huge companies involved in this, like really, really big ones. But don't let that put you off, because just because it's a big company doesn't mean that they don't have something that you have. And usually that thing you have comes down to exceptional customer service, really one-on-one personal, contact and development with the people. And really that's what people are looking for at that level.
Yeah. I mean, as you say, it can be quite a difficult industry to get into with startups. You're not going to be able to compete with some of these big dogs like Thomas Cook Travel, Thomas Cook Sport, on pricing, because they've got it at such a vast level. So it really is customer service that you're going to be able to offer something different.
Yeah.
And it's really the customer experience that can set you apart from everyone else.
Yeah. And really that's the same no matter what you do in business, right? People don't go into markets because they think they're crowded. No market is crowded. taxi market was seen as crowded, and Uber came in and blew it out of the water. Do you know what I mean? The holiday rental and lettings market was seen as crowded, and Airbnb just changed the whole thing up. Now we actually call going on holiday like going to an Airbnb. You know, it's like we talk about Airbnb in it. So don't look at something and be like, there's no space for me in that market, because all you need to do is come up with something different, and that applies just as well to sports tourism as well. And I think the good thing about sports tourism is if you have a passion for it, that comes through. So many people say do a job that you're following your passion, and my passion was always in property development and international travel and allowing people to relocate, and I now get to do that job every single day on a daily basis, and it's amazing. But there's plenty of people out there who reserve their passion for Saturdays, and their passion for football. Maybe they didn't make it as a footballer and they believe that's the only way to be involved in football. Well, what about what Kieran's doing? You know, he's organising trips to the best matches on earth. I'm sure he gets to sit in on some of them. Like,
hope so.
Yeah.
I hope for his
Kieran,
behalf.
could you please let us know? But I'm sure that's a perk of the job, you know. But just being involved in that world, if that's your passion, then that means your business is going to succeed, as far as I can see.
And even if you can't see an avenue for yourself, there's still you can still use sport to try and build your brand and try and access new markets. You know, we've spoken previously about how like golf, for instance. That's a massive draw for Scotland. You know, St Andrews is a massive draw for Scotland, and it's got a massive American market. So if you are a business that perhaps isn't going to travel, but you're looking to tap into the American market, having some kind of partnership or some kind of deal with St Andrews, or just having some presence in St Andrews, can really help you build your brand. I mean, that's just associating your business with any kind of sport is a method that's tried and tested across the whole world, and all different business sizes, from the massive multinational businesses that partner themselves with Manchester United through to a small business. I'm sure one of your local pubs sponsors a local young football team. You know, that's an over 18s only venue, which is sponsoring, you know, a team of 12-year-olds maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not their target market, but the kind of economic system that surrounds that football team is tapping into their market. Yeah,
it's a very unique way to get your name out there, isn't it? You know, like for example, for us, we don't spend any money on traditional advertising. We have a portal that we use for our rentals, but even at that, we're sort of moving away from that area. What we spend money on is sponsoring events, and we sponsor business events because we know that business people are going to be there, and our main target audience, our only target audience, is business people, so we go to where they are. And that's the same, you know, just because you're a small local business, it doesn't mean you can't get involved in that sports side of it. You did a really interesting blog on this last week. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, if you're looking for a little bit more information on that, go to the AMI Executive website, amiexecutive.co.uk, and then go to the news section and blogs, and it's in there for you.
Very good. So, anything else you think that we've forgot? Anything else we've not covered?
I don't think so. I think we're all good. Yeah.
And I think definitely the one thing to take away from this is it doesn't matter whether it's sports tourism or whether it's fashion tourism or whether it's music tourism, right? And all of those things I think would be good for us to do a blog on at some point. If you can combine work with passion, you will never work another day in your life. If you can find a business that taps into your passion, that's literally setting you up for the best life ever. Find something you love, find a way to do it and make money from it, and just go and do it and make money from it. And if you need to go to the other side of the world to do it, go to the other side of the world to do it, and give us a call and we'll help you get there.
Yeah.
We'll probably give you an apartment.
Charge you for it.
I mean,
because it is a business.
Maybe give you like a discount or something.
It's definitely not the last time that we'll touch on this topic. So if you guys have any questions that we've not covered, any areas that you want to see, or even just any other topics you want us to cover over the next couple of weeks, let us know. Yeah,
that would be great. And also give us some feedback on what you think, because we realised that we were very quickly running out of locations, and before we knew it, we'd be talking to you about relocating to Skegness, and we don't really want to be having to go down to Skegness for the week to do that. We'd rather might be hiking down,
Is it the seaside?
Maybe good. Well, it was Skegness or Dubai, Laura, so you go to Skegness, I'll take the Dubai leg. But yeah, I mean, we will run out of locations, and we want to focus on really getting in deep with the locations that we're talking about, because it's important that we're giving you information which is right for your business. Not every location in the world is going to be great for your business, but likewise, when we're looking at areas like this, it makes you realise that self-employment and having your own business is such a wider sphere than you think. You don't have to stick to these boxes that you tick on, you know, the Scottish Enterprise forms. You know, are you in professional services? Are you in retail? Create a business out of nothing and just do something because you think there's a need in the market. If you think that the Olympics in Rio were ran terribly and something went wrong, well, create a business that fixes it, and then the next time the Olympics comes around in 4 years, you'll be at the forefront of doing all the work for it. That's how you get a good business model. Find a problem, fix it, be a disruptor, and go out there and do it. And I would definitely advise travelling.
Yeah.
Okay. And there we go, we're fine. Amy Rio, yeah. Although I don't know if they've got much on for the next 10 years. So maybe Mr. Boat. I think
Carnival.
that's true.
And hope, you know, to help with that because they have caipirinhas, which we should have had today.
We should have had caipirinhas. This is why I'm really pleased that Laura is our international development manager, because there is literally no area too random or remote for her to consider. And Brian has just mentioned and said that he will take New York. Brian, I've already got that sorted, pal, but thank you so much for the kind offer. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. It's so great to be back in Glasgow. I'm going to try and do one next week as well. Yep. I'll be here for the one next week and we'll make it a good one next week, but we really hope you enjoyed it. Thanks to Blair for coming up with so many amazing facts.
Very welcome.
And we'll speak to you soon. Have a good weekend.
See you
Bye
later.
guys, see you later.